What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Free Assange Vigil. I am Misty. I am joined by my co-host Andrew and our very new co-host Krish Mohan, who we'll introduce here in just a little bit. But before we get to all of that stuff, we have some excellent guests coming up too. I do want to get through the numbers really fast. So as of today, we have 3,871 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. 835 days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the US and the UK for a $4.2 billion loan from the IMF to Ecuador. 198 days since Vanessa Baraitser's January 6th ruling denying Assange bail after the no extradition ruling, which came on January 4th. We have 1,427 days of inhumane pretrial detention for alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz. And at least 985 of those days have been spent in special administrative measures. We talked to Kevin Gostola on the last show about Joshua Schultz's case, so check that out. 834 days since the political persecution of Ola Bini by the Ecuadorian government. You can find him on Twitter. He frequently updates about his case so that you guys can follow that. 39 days since Commander X was illegally taken from Mexico and renditioned to the United States. He had his first court date today. Glory Jones is here to talk about the protest and the court proceedings that went on today. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. 42 days since whistleblower Reality Winner was moved into house arrest. She is expected to be moved to parole, like out of like the court, like not entirely out of the court system, but you guys know what I mean, on November 23rd. We'll see how that goes. We have 489 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning. Chelsea is frequently streaming on Twitch. So if you're a Twitch person, a gaming person, head over to Twitch at twitch.tv/xychelsea87. And we have 137 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond, which is awesome. Those are our little bright shining lights. And just so everybody knows too, on Tuesday, Daniel Hale's sentencing hearing is happening. I'm going to try to make it to DC that day. I'm still trying to figure out babysitters, but just so everybody knows, that's on Tuesday. But other than that, Andrew, how are you doing? Would you like to tell everybody who our brand new co-host is?
I am. Most people who hang out with us regularly will know him, but he is stand-up comedian and good friend of ours, Krish Mohan. He has, I met him actually first, like 2 or 3 years ago when he was on a stand-up tour with Lee Camp and Tim Black I met him in Columbus. This was like 2018, probably, maybe 17.
Tim Black.
And I followed him since then. Great friend of mine. Super, super, super smart. So I'm just happy to have him. He'll be with us every other Tuesday. And we may try to find more people to plug in on the in-between Tuesdays and maybe sometimes Saturdays, but we're just seeing.
Because frankly, I'm sure you guys are getting tired of Andrew and I.
Right.
Let's be real. Twice a week for 106 weeks, 107 weeks?
Something like that.
I don't know. Whatever. That's a lot of weeks to see.
107.
So we like to bring in some fresh meat every now and again. Krish, thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for agreeing to become our co-host. We appreciate you. We're super excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is fun. I always have a good time when I'm here. So it was like, yeah, more of that? Sure. That'll be fun.
Twist your arm. Okay, so guests today, we are very excited. We have Lucky and Steve, who are amazing. They're both artists. They do a lot of really cool artwork for activism and stuff. And then, of course, you guys know Glory Jones, Miss Glory Jones, who I love. She's my favorite Zoomer by far. So yeah, I think maybe we should start with Glory so we can get an update on the X stuff since that happened today. So, okay, you want to give us a breakdown, my friend?
Yeah, well, the good news is it's pretty short because the actual hearing itself was short. Pretty much this morning at 9 a.m., they met via Zoom to have Commander X's first court hearing. And the whole thing took place within a span of 10 minutes or less. Basically, the summary of the whole thing is that the prosecution doesn't even have their shit together. They still need to find a way to bring in the Orlando indictment, the Orlando DDoS attacks, and then X's defense was also arguing for the need for, more discovery to happen before they can actually make any like tangible moves in the case. So once that was settled, then basically they were just like, I'm looking forward to our next court date. How's October sound? So they ended up settling on October 12th as the next court hearing for Commander X. Hopefully we can get him out by then, but I don't know. That's that's where we are right now. They're dragging this out a lot. And I guess one good thing I can say about the Zoom meeting was that we were there to see it. So, and the fact that we were there alone actually lifted X's spirits, because big shout out to MCSC fam Brooks, but he actually went into the Zoom meeting and he said, like, in the Discord, ah man, like, I typed free Commander X in the chat. Sorry, I think they disabled the chat because of that. Like, not, like, really innocently, not knowing
So
that, like,
cute.
there are other Anons also in the Zoom meeting that are probably doing the exact same thing about
Yeah.
50,000 times. So, but yeah, we were all there, and X actually said shortly after he was talking with his sister that all the panelists in the Zoom meeting could see the messages going in the chats. So, like, if we were just calling in, we couldn't see the chat, but all the panelists in the meeting could. So X was actually able to see the people typing in there, and his sister said that it really lifted his spirits, and he wants to give a big shout out to those people. So yeah, they disabled the chat because of it, so they know we're there. And then a couple hours later, me, Steve, Keith McHenry, a couple other people, shout out to Hunter Carranza, because she was supposed to make it but couldn't because PayPal screwed her over. So she ended up stuck in Vegas because she couldn't access the funds that were in PayPal. Like, they locked her out of her account or something like that. But it's pretty fucked up. But yeah, so a couple of us, we got together outside of the San Jose courthouse at noon, and there was a bullhorn there, and we talked to people. There was one indigenous woman that was homeless, and she came to she pretty much came to basically, like, try and see if she could collect her social security, but they weren't giving it to her. So she came storming out, like, really fucking pissed that, like, this fucking courthouse is on stolen land and I can't even get a social security check. So we had a conversation with her, and she also expressed solidarity with Commander X. A couple other people who passed by said more or less the same thing. A lot of the people who passed by were already homeless, so they were able to empathize with our struggle, at least on that level. And yeah, we made some noise for Commander X outside the courthouse. I don't know how penetrable those glass windows are, but there was a good echo, and I'm loud. So I'm assuming that Judge Freeman, who is the judge overseeing the case that was inside the San Jose District Courthouse, heard us. And yeah, I also know our good friend Nat, who helped a lot with who helped take care of X a lot back in Mexico before he was renditioned to the U.S. She also went outside the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, and she did, like, a ribbon tying where she took like red ribbons and she tied them across, like, this fence to form an X. And yeah, that's
Right on.
Has there been any talk of bail at all?
nope.
Okay, that's what I figured.
because of the manner in which the case like, not only there was no discussion of bail within the hearing today, but also because of the manner with which the case happened. Like, it was an extradition that happened, and also because he was already, his initial booking was a failure to appear in court for the 2011 DDoS charges in Santa Cruz. So because of that, and the fact that it was sort of like an extradition rendition situation, bail was kind of out of the question, and there was really, like, no effort made to even try and schedule any kind of bail hearing. They just, like, quietly and calmly and, almost like happy-go-lucky, which really pissed me off. We're just like, oh yeah, we're going to set the next court date for October 12th. Yeah, October 12th sounds good. I've been opening at 9 a.m. So, like, they were very just, like, calmly and swiftly, happy-go-lucky, deciding to extend an old activist sentence in jail for helping the homeless.
All business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Y'all know Commander X if you've been watching. He's been on. He for 4 years he's just been chilling. He hasn't been getting in trouble. He's just been chilling in Mexico doing his thing. He was in poor health for a while, right before he got kidnapped. Essentially, he had just started to feel better. He had started his own show. Like I went on a show, Glory went on a show. He was really starting to like feel better. And he has his 2 dogs, and he loves his dogs, and he was in like a pretty good place. And then he got kidnapped. So
yeah, and Steve also said that he's got more legal jargon. Today was just an arraignment as well, so it would just be reading the preliminary charges and determining the initial hearing after both the prosecution and the defense get discovery. So yeah, it's still bullshit though, because the state really doesn't have a case against him. They're still trying to get that together, and yeah. He also said they can bump the date out beyond this at basically any point. So shout out Steve Poikonen for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we all know that it doesn't matter if they have a case or not. They don't care. Look at what they're doing to Julian Assange. They have no case. What little case that they had imploded recently, and he's still in prison. Joshua Schulte, they admitted in court that they have no ability whatsoever to judge whether or not he is the Vault 7 whistleblower. The first trial ended in a mistrial. He's still in special administrative measures. He's still being held under special administrative measures.
Like you said, the process is the punishment.
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing with these people. It's the same thing they're doing to Ola Benny, but just in a different way. He's not currently incarcerated, but he is it's like constant legal bullshit all the time. And that wears a person down. And that's what they're attempting to do with all of these people.
I mean, that's what basically killed Aaron Schwartz.
Yes.
Was just constantly wearing him down through all these bullshit legal
Yeah, people
stuff.
say he committed suicide. I say he was murdered, frankly. I mean,
no, he wouldn't have committed suicide if it weren't for the fucking the fucking empire using an outdated law against him to literally force him into submission via the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just the empire standing on your neck, you know how long is anybody gonna last? That's fucking rough.
Yeah, and that's what they do, bastards.
Could you guys talk a little bit about like the art that you guys do, the work that you guys do? Because you're some really, really awesome behind the scenes people that also make a lot of cool stuff that people can engage.
If y'all see Slow News Days, like the art that gets put out, that's your guy right there, Steve. That's your guy. All of that amazing artwork. He also did the Krish Mohan owl recently, which I asked for. You were so fast too. We're in the middle of a vigil, and I'm like, somebody make me a Krish Mohan owl. And by the time I got off the vigil and checked Twitter, Steve's like, here you go. Like, wow.
You better get on there right now.
That was amazing. It was so fast. Like I got off the vigil and checked Twitter, and there was already a Krish Mohan owl in my mentions.
Christian credit, he makes a fine owl.
He does make a fine owl.
He's a hoot.
I love owls. So it's not a huge problem,
Well, thank you. That was awesome.
We make stuff, and we try to support independent media and people who are like on the ground.
Oh, Glory Jones is putting some of your stuff up right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And essentially, we just want to be able to contribute the way that we can. I've been a musician for years and years, and I play music and stuff. And like earlier today, I did a set for Commander X, kind of in solidarity, and played for an hour or so. And we, Sarah makes lots of stuff, Lucky, and makes lots of really cool things out of like stuff that if I'll come up with an image or whatever, and she can put it behind glass on a pendant for a necklace and a magnet and all these different things. So we made some Assange ones. If people are interested in those, you can check out the website. I'll put it in the thing there or type it over to you guys.
And the money, we're giving you guys money for doing the actions that you guys are doing. We want to support you. So that's why I made the Commander X and the Assange necklaces and magnets just for that purpose. Like those are strictly like, we're giving money to you guys directly, as soon as we get it, or we'll get a lump sum or whatever and send it over to you guys. And Slow News Day, because you guys are the ones supporting, on the ground, and we can't always be on the ground, but this is the way that we can put it in there and help support, that way. So that's what we do. I take his art and my art, and we combine them and come up with something cool.
Which is
On
amazing.
behalf of
'cause-
Slow News Day, your work is always appreciated.
oh, Grandma Pasta, we love you.
Oh,
But yeah, that's a really creative like way to do, because I mean I say it all the time. Everybody can do something. Like I get that not everybody can be in the streets, or not everybody can make the trip to DC or whatever it is. So but you can still, there's still plenty of ways that you can help, and like making art to then help fund actions is an amazing thing, because you know it ain't cheap. Activism is not cheap. It
No, it's
sucks.
And
It
hopefully
sucks how
we're-
expensive it is.
we can kind of offset, you know, some of the expense or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's the goal, is to just try to make it easier for the people that are doing this kind of stuff, like y'all, to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Effectively, and what better thing to do it with than the things that we already love to make and do in the first place. So it's like a mutual symbiosis thing. You know, like we're we're all on the same page. Let's work together.
Oh, and
Yeah.
the new Commander X pendants and necklaces that
Uh-oh.
Oh,
no.
damn it.
Frozen.
Commander X.
Oh,
like it's
You froze. Hold on.
Oh no.
Oh, now she's
Oh
frozen.
no.
Oh, Kevin, do you mind? I know
All
I
right,
just came
Kevin.
from a free X rally. but
God
can you
damn it,
chill,
Kevin.
I know I just met Keith McHenry, but like,
Oh,
allow
you
it.
did. And you said his name. He's a domestic extremist, you
yeah,
guys. He
yeah,
feeds
yeah.
homeless
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Keith
Right, he
McHenry.
is. Keith
See,
McHenry.
look, there's a Commander X pendant, and you guys can buy these. Now, does the money from the X ones go to X?
Yes.
Or okay.
It was gonna go,
Yeah.
I was just gonna give it to you guys, or however we need to send it out. Like we
However,
just want to raise the money, like whatever you guys
like if we can get it directly to X, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I was saying like putting it on his books or something,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these images of X, this is actually, I don't know how clear it is on there. It's actually a picture of Commander X that Steve took, that someone else had altered, and then Steve took it and altered it more. So
Yeah.
these are actually Commander X in the mask, like images. So it's
That's
really
awesome.
kinda
Yeah, it's
cool.
like a collaboration. That specific one.
That's awesome.
That is really cool.
Assange ones also that we're doing the same thing with.
Ah,
Shout out to Jack.
Yeah, Jack had the Commander X one already. He made that image and Steve borrowed it. So yeah, these are like wooden pendants, and they're they're 3D, and they have glass on the front, and the other ones have the glass on the front too, and so
I need some. I need to go order some. I keep meaning to, and then I forget.
I can send you some. I was
We
gonna
will.
put it on.
No, I will order them, and well, I guess it doesn't really matter, because I guess the money's going back to the stuff that we do anyway. Well, whatever.
Yeah, just we'll send you some.
yeah. You're spending money on them only to have it go right back
Right.
to you.
But then, I mean, you could at least like cost, like whatever, I don't know how you're doing it, but
We got you.
Put it
You
into
guys
the
Okay.
rock.
fund,
okay.
I mean,
So Glory,
it's not about making the money. It's about supporting you guys. That's what it's really about.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. Seriously.
We
More than you
appreciate
know.
you guys.
Oh, we definitely do over at Slow News Day.
We love you.
Yeah. So basically, if anybody has ideas for events or whatever, anything that needs like graphics, please throw them my way, and I will help you, because I love to do that.
Sweet, man.
That's
I could take some graphics for Bitch and for Facts, and I mean, you
And
know what I'm
he
saying?
does
Like,
them quick too, y'all.
I know,
Like, we're
I
already-
just said, like,
I
and,
know,
like,
I know Misty already said it, but like
I was
like,
shocked.
You don't gotta bother him or nothing. Just be like, "Hey, yo, Steve, like, could I get this graphic? Okay, no problem." And you get
I
like
know,
a
like 20
kick-ass,
minutes later,
trippy-ass
it was
graphic, and it's
seriously-
awesome.
Yeah,
Whatever,
it was
you know.
seriously like 20 minutes later. I get off the vigil. I said it like towards the end of the
Christy,
vigil. I
you
get
need
off,
4
and then
shirts.
yeah,
look me up, bro.
crazy.
I got
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you some tour merch.
whatever you need.
Yeah, I need a Krish Owl shirt. I
that would
love
be
you
cool.
guys know I love shirts, but I need a shirt. I need it in my life. So
As long as I don't have
We can
to
make that happen.
carry
We'll
merch
make that
around,
happen.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm like the worst fucking. People have tried to get me to be like, why don't you sell T-shirts at your thing? And I'm like, I gotta carry a box, and
yeah, let's
you know, I wanna-
So involved. I get it.
Yeah. Carrying
fuck with
boxes is
sizes.
not worth it.
Like, dude,
When he used to do gigs all the time, I would have to haul in so much because I would sell my merch at the shows.
Yeah.
So like, because we went to a show, and even though it was only the guitar and the amp for him, it was like we had to haul everything else in with us to sell, and
There's
it
stuff.
can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Lots of things. So like if you guys are into like, I don't know, glow in the dark dream catchers with little amethyst things in the middle and whatever, like new agey.
that's awesome.
That
shit.
sounds dope.
I know, right?
He makes a lot of things like that. So
Yeah.
And we started a Discord too, a Lucky Burrito Discord.
yeah.
So if you guys are on there, then I'm starting to post some of my art up there. I'm really bad about posting pictures, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get stuff up there, and we put the pendants. We're putting those all up on a Shopify that we started just for the pendants, and we're gonna continue to use it otherwise for our stuff. But that's like we started it just for selling those. That's all we have up there right now.
So if anybody wants a free Julian Assange button, magnet or necklace or any of the X ones, that's where you can find them.
Hell yeah.
Lucky
Yeah,
Window
did you-
SDA on
Did
my
you
site.
put that in the chat? I didn't look. Did you put the link to that in
No.
the chat?
I haven't yet.
Okay. Yeah, we need to give everybody the link for that, and I'll tweet it out too.
I can do that too here.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad. Like, a lot of people tell me to tweet stuff out, and I'm really bad about remembering. Like, I don't even remember to tweet out my own shows. Andrew has to remind me.
I forget to go on Twitter, and then he'll be like, "Come on, I posted a picture on there. You got to go see it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
I don't
I'll
forget to go on Twitter. I'm good about remembering to go on Twitter. It's just remembering to tweet things that matter on Twitter that I'm really terrible at. Usually it's just rants. I just rant about things, bitch and moan.
Your pissed off ones are the best ones for me. I really enjoy them a lot.
I relate
My pissed off tweets, that's like
Sometimes they wake me
98%.
up.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
I
no,
like
it's like coffee. It's like coffee, right?
yeah, I'll wake up and I'm
It's
just
really-
like, one bloodshot eye trying to wake up, and then I read a Misty tweet, and I'm like, I'm ready to do this.
I try
A
to
jolt
be
of
nice.
anger.
I try to be nice.
I do not try to be nice.
civil.
I've lost all ability.
And then like I'll see one thing and I'm just like,
I
nah.
know.
Like with the whole Cuba thing, like I was being so fucking nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, you know what? Because like, I know the circles I run in. I know that we got like some, genuine anons who might be protesting. And I'm like, okay, on behalf of them, I'd be nice. And then I go on IG and I'm like, nah, fuck these gusanos, bro. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess it really depends on what day you catch me, because there are days when I have patience and I am willing to have a conversation. Like if you come at me in a real way and I feel like you're asking legitimate questions and you really want to know, then I will engage in that. But there are other times where I just have zero patience whatsoever, especially for the people who just regurgitate State Department talking points over and over and over again. I just can't. I'm just done with it. Like the information's out there for you. I don't have time to hold your hand and coddle you through this. Grow up and go figure it out. I can't anymore,
That's
especially
like with the whole asking people to speak about Assange.
Mm.
Like, dude, I literally used to.
That's so
fucking
demoralizing.
super chat. I used to super chat these motherfuckers, asking them to be like not even like something big, just be like, hey, please support Julian Assange, please cover Julian Assange. No,
We'll
please
look into
support
it.
Julian.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
And
then,
Just so
know,
everybody knows,
then,
Glory Jones is the one who outed Anna, who made her. She's the I'll look into it. That was Glory Jones.
Oh, nice.
When you
That's
watch
awesome.
that video, there's like a very distinctive faint crack
Mhm.
that's running like throughout. That's running through the video, like through the camera lens. And it's because I have a fucked up camera, so like that's a way to like have a really scuffed watermark almost. So if anybody has any doubts that it was me that took that video, then I can prove it because of my fucked up camera. But yeah, that was me. And then I also called out Tim Black too, and proceeded to get gate.
He wouldn't even say Julian's last name. Like somebody
to get
said,
gate kept out of my fucking mind because of
yeah.
that shit.
Well, didn't you put in this to cover Julian Assange, and he just said Julian. Like he wouldn't even say Assange's last name. Like a fucking
I sent him
coward.
a super chat that was like, please support Julian Assange. And he said, please support Julian. And I was like, nope.
And then like brushed it off real fast and moved on to the next thing. It's like,
Yeah,
really,
no.
dude?
Oh,
And then he was like, oh, sorry. It's because I'm covering Black issues.
The Assange issue is a black issue. It's an everybody issue, fam. It affects fucking everybody.
That shit pissed me off.
Oh.
Like, I get I'm light skinned, but like, come on, bro.
Get him, Glory.
Yeah, no, that was a whole fiasco.
You know, I'm just so tired of having to beg people. Like the whole Glory and I like tag team like a whole lot of people. We went after everybody.
The Ken
like
Klippenstein one, I think it was, where he said he was just not gonna do it out of spite. That was
just to make his answer
Wow.
was. I said okay, so I said because I couldn't remember if I had gone after him before, and I don't like him. Like I've always thought he was a douche canoe, and he works for the Intercept, so you know, fuck him. So I was like, you know, I don't remember. So I'm like, I'm gonna go look. So I looked, and he has like 2 tweets about Julian Assange from like 2015 or something ridiculous. So I tweeted him. I'm like, hey, dude, you're like a national security reporter, and I am only seeing like 2 tweets where you've ever mentioned Julian Assange, and I'm just curious why that is. And he tweeted me back his exact words, just to make you mad.
Well, I mean, doesn't that just show
Really?
you who these fucking people are, though?
He's
Like,
a
that's-
shit poster douche canoe.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
he's
what-
Shit.
Ken
Yeah, like,
Klippenstein, by the way, literally going out and like asking people like, hey, if you have military intelligence and would like to leak it, send it to my
to me on
Signal.
Signal.
Yeah.
What and we wonder why they blow sources all the time, how they burn sources all the time. This is why they use fucking Signal.
No,
Oh.
I sent him all the pictures of the posters I put up all around the Donald Trump rally that happened last month.
We should just blow up his Signal with a bunch of stuff from our rallies, and you know what I'm saying? Just like overload his Signal with.
You just doxed yourself, dude.
Yeah.
It was scary.
But he's just such a douche. Like, and he's done that to me a couple times, and then he sends his like, you know, huge ass following to like attack me, and I'm like, which doesn't bother me. I'm used to that shit. But
that's the thing is like he just showed you who he is,
Yes.
and he still has like these stands that follow him. These fucking reporters do it all the time. They show you exactly who they are, and then everybody just goes, that was just a bad day. Or it's like, no, that's who the fuck they are. Everything else is a charade
It's
and a
not
performance.
an anomaly. It's not an anomaly that Nina Turner said, yeah, I'm going to be a Democrat and I'll let you down.
Dude,
she will.
she's running on Medicare for All. There is a Medicare for All grassroots run rally being held 2 hours from her district on Saturday, and she won't even acknowledge that it exists.
That is heinous.
That should be a massive
Bro,
red
God,
flag.
like, you know what? It really
Yeah.
does piss me off when people that like claim to care about these issues and like they brand themselves as these warriors on these issues, like Medicare for All. They can't even be bothered to boost actions about said issue.
Y'all, they said what did AOC said? You need to go organize. The people need to organize. We've been organizing, bitch. You ain't doing shit for us.
But this
like,
is-
I'm tired of organizing. Do something.
But
It's like over 50 cities.
Yeah.
People are marching in. That's organized as fuck.
And it's grassroots run, 100% grassroots run. This is what they asked for,
Not
and then they're not even
grassroots
acknowledging it.
run. It's Nazi run.
Oh, right. A bunch of right wingers, Trumpers, all of them.
Yeah,
QAnoners.
we're all, like, I'm speaking. Obviously, I'm fascist adjacent. Oh,
Yeah,
Joy.
Reverend Annie Chambers, QAnon. Please.
totally a Nazi.
Yeah.
Totally.
And Joy, like
Savage Joy.
Savage Joy has done amazing work. Like
That's kick ass.
I am just, she's amazing. Like,
And for the
It's not
trolls to
confusing.
push her to the point where she's like sitting at home crying all night and like had to deactivate her account. That's fucking ridiculous. And these are
Yeah.
people who claim to want Medicare for all. If you want Medicare for all and you are trying to sabotage this rally, you need to examine yourself. You
So
need
I
to.
support. Did you hear the news that I support 100% lady is officially not going to be a
She's on
Democrat
the
anymore?
she's in the People's Party.
Oh,
Glory,
that's
did you
so much
hear?
better.
Did you
Yeah,
hear?
I saw.
Okay.
I said, you know what? My response was, oh, so that's why I'm not unblocked yet.
Yeah. And every time somebody's like, oh, Paula Jean's moving to the People's Party, I'm like, oh, Paula Jean blocked me for asking about Assange.
Yeah.
See,
It's like, oh man, Paula Jean, look at her go. She still has me blocked.
She still has me blocked. All
I'm
I did
like-
was ask about
I'm
Julian
like,
Assange.
I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure what she's saying looks good. Too bad I can't see it because I'm still blocked.
No, but here let's go over that since she's in the news right now. Let's fucking talk about that for a second because that was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had on Twitter. And if you guys are familiar with my Twitter experience, it's fucking weird. So that's saying something. But Paula Jean, okay, so we tweeted at her and we're like, hey, will you speak about Julian Assange? Like Lori and I had been doing to literally everybody on planet Earth, I feel like. And she said something, I'd love to talk to you about it. Give me a call. And she gave me her phone number, right? So Andrew called, I called, I had like a very nice 20-minute conversation with her. I just explained why this is important, why we care about it, why we want her, to speak out about it, why it would be helpful, all of those things. And she was like, I'm really receptive to it, blah, blah, blah. And she seems really super cool, right? Like I was jazzed. I'm like, okay, she's gonna.
Like I've spoken with tons of people running for offices, and she sounded like
she seemed genuine, and she was going to be into it. She was going to do it. I felt really good about it. So then a couple hours later on Twitter, we're talking about like something else entirely, and we were just talking
foreign policy. I'm pretty sure.
We were talking about foreign policy.
With all the brand new Congress candidates,
they don't have
exception of Jen Perlman, was that they had zero foreign policy,
and we weren't even being mean about it. I promise. I was super. I even said all due respect.
So fucking nice to Cori Bush. I had the grace to go and ask her friend. Yeah, no, I'm talking about brand new Congress as a whole. Like I had the grace to go and ask Cori Bush's friend what her foreign policy was. Fuck that.
No, but like with Paula Jean, we were all like, we weren't trashing her. We were just saying we were just giving like our personal opinions on her as a candidate, which if you're running for office, you should expect people to be discussing your policy positions and debating about it, talking about it, trying to figure out who you are and what you stand for. She freaked the fuck out. Why are you guys bashing me? Why are you piling on? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what is happening? Like full on tantrum. And then she blocked everybody in the thread and deleted all of her tweets. I have no idea what that was about. I really don't.
Yeah, she came in and I think Misty sent the tweet in the chat and I was like, wow,
that's so
I'm gonna get all up in this thread then. And to be fair, I did guilt trip her a lot. I was like, yeah, come on, like, sorry. It's just
we guilt trip everybody.
I got tear gassed by someone who said they was a progressive. So like I have a bit of trust issues, and I was playing that whole thing. But I'm still like, bro, some like response to that would have been nice. Nope, blocked.
Yeah.
Bro, she seems so calm and cool and collected.
Not that day.
On the Jimmy Dore show earlier.
I didn't watch it.
She was on there saying that she left the Democratic Party and joined the Green Party. That was her big announcement.
No, People's Party, right?
People's Party, I'm sorry. Yeah. People's Party, not Green Party.
First of all, People's Party, trash ass fucking name. If you're gonna,
and it took them 4 years to come up with it.
Yeah, 4 years to come up with People's Party. Like if you're gonna, People's Party sounds like an op. First of all, you have 4 years to come up with something so cool, and you settle on People's Party.
Yeah,
it sounds like a lot like Up With People. Remember that from the 70s and 80s? They had these like all these community theater groups like all over the nation that were like young people like touring around the country with their Up With People show. I'm not even kidding. You have to look it up. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, People's Party is shady as fuck. I'm sorry. I mean, you guys know I don't do electoral politics. None of your third parties are ever going to get elected. Y'all need to stop this.
Party is shite. Like,
it is shite.
They completely shat on their black organizers that were petitioning the party. And
I will say that they have been very good about Assange stuff. They sent somebody to our rally in Columbus. Their group held one down in Tampa. They let me on their national call. Yeah, they let me on their national call to hype the home run tour. So I mean, listen, I'm appreciative of that stuff.
Sure. Nick showed up himself at our event in DC for a photo op, and then proceeded to run away because we weren't licking his asshole. But and like, yeah, People's Party isn't gonna get anywhere. Like, I hate to be that person, but like, if you're a People's Party acolyte, like freaking Jimmy Dore, Jackson Hinkle,
yeah, it's so disappointing.
No. And you got to be able to handle the heat on that too. Okay,
it's a big deal to fucking be a party, an alternative party, and getting everybody in that same party. It's like. I don't know.
It's never going to work. Our elections are so fucking rigged, you guys. Your third party isn't going to do shit. Yeah. Not a damn thing.
That's the problem.
You can't.
That's the problem.
The fucking system. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, if you're trying to play within the system, it's just not going to work. I mean, everybody's talked about it. Like Eugene Debs talked about it, and that he ran 5 times and lost because he didn't have banker money. Like he was going around in a self-funded train, talking to a bunch of people. Like,
but hey, it's easier to sell people hopium on, electoral politics instead of just promoting direct action.
Right. And that was the thing, is if you're going to be a socialist party, then again, like, you got to look to when the last time America had a socialist party. So you got to look at what Eugene Debs was saying. And he was like, yeah, the answer's not in this. The answer's not in electoral politics. Like, this electoral politics is meant to follow what the will of the people is. So if the people aren't connected to what's going on, then how can this fucking work?
We need feet in the streets. We need people in the streets. And I get that, like, not everybody, and people yell at me all the time because I say this, and they're like, oh, that's ableist. Not everybody can protest. And when I say we need feet in the streets, I just mean we need people in the game. We need people doing what they can to fight back, to fight the system.
Doing what Steve and Lucky Burrito are doing. Like, quit selling people, like, to Jimmy Dore, quit selling people hopium on fucking People's Party and licking Nick Brania's asshole. Tell people about the events that are happening for Julian Assange. Like, tell people of protests that are happening in your area of LA, because there are like 20 protests that happen in LA daily. Never mind the one that you actually went to yourself. You could have promoted that. So, like,
right. How hard is it to get someone who's tied into that network in LA that knows all the protests that are happening, ahead of time, and you can make a card every time he goes to a card. There's a fucking list of things.
Yeah, that would be great.
Coalition, if you're watching this too, Answer Coalition, please.
Steve, that I think if they had a card that had at least the outline of all the strikes coming up,
well, he does have a thing on his website with the strikes, all of the strikes that are happening. I don't know how frequently he updates it, but I thought that was pretty cool that he does. But you're right, he doesn't do that nearly as much on air, if at all. And he has I understand that he's just one dude, and I think a lot of people put a lot on him. Like, he's supposed to cover everything. Like, if he doesn't cover something, everybody's like, oh, he's, whatever. He talks about this too much. He doesn't you can only cover so much stuff. So I get that aspect of it. But you have a huge platform. You have a huge, really, I'm sorry, Jimmy, you have a huge responsibility now at this point. And so, he should be highlighting activists and activism.
Those little things like that could really,
make a huge difference.
Hey, Jimmy, if you're gonna use my tweets on your show, then you can promote my actions that I'm in.
Yeah, dude, use my tweets all the time. Like, promote my tweets that are talking about actions. How about that? That? For every tweet, every snarky tweet you use an action tweet too. How about that? We'll make a deal.
It could be just a screen grab of fucking actions that are going by. You know what I mean?
Literally. Like, so that shit helps when you have a platform like that.
Right? Like, I'm about solutions to this. So today during the show, I was like, hey, why don't you make up Jimmy a cool card that has some of the, the things coming up, and we can, like, get it to him and say, like, hey, like, could we do something like this? Like, we will update it, and, we whatever needs to happen, but could you throw it up on your live streams? Like, because I'm about, okay, that's our problem. Let's figure out a solution in a way that we can, like, get that information out there.
And the easier we make it for him to do it, the more likely he is to do it. So if we put that together and send it to him, he's going to be more likely to use it.
So, like, I think that's a good way to look at it. Okay, well, this is what we want.
I think that's a good idea.
Let's find a way to make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's find a way where this can be a solution, and, like, everybody can start getting it.
And he's not the only one. Like, I don't want to shit on just Jimmy, because most people with huge platforms don't do shit. Like, they don't, they get, like, they talk about the online Twitter beefs and all of that stuff, and they're not talking about direct actions. They're not talking about protests that are happening in their area. They're not going to protests that are in their area. Right. I mean, that's something that we need to get on. I mean, everybody, all of them, they all need to do that.
Let's get this out there to everybody, and we can update it. You know what I mean? To make sure everybody gets it, and hopefully they'll use it. And if you just put it out there, like, this is for the whole community. Like,
use it.
Like, let's update this. Like, you know what I mean? Have a central hub.
Such a great idea, Lucky. Let's do this thing. I like it.
I just try to find the solutions. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what the Discords are for. I mean, well, that's what the Discords are good for. Is they're, like, great place to kind of, like, consolidate news. I'm gonna, because they're my friends and I'm biased like that, I'm gonna plug my man Ted Fibber, Divine, and an unknown L over at Local Leaks. They do tons of good shit with like just consolidating all kinds of news into one Discord server, and I'll find the link and put it in the chat too. But like, I recommend it because doing stuff like that where you can like get people in these little communities to like talk and have all kinds of good discussions and like get news stories and get like articles and stuff, like that kind of stuff helps a lot. I mean, it helps me a lot, that's for sure, because it's how me and Steve are able to get like a lot of the news content for our shows, because, you know, we can't have our eyes everywhere, but
it's fantastic to have like-minded people working together to make it better and bigger and more, you know, especially
we need more of that whole working together thing. There's so much bickering and fighting over some dumb ass bullshit. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it.
At this point, it's just like drama on top of drama on top of drama.
Yes.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And like,
I'm too old for that shit. I don't know about y'all, but like I'm not in high school anymore. I don't want to be. I don't like the high school drama shit. I try to avoid it at all costs.
Old for that shit. It's just like fucking tiring as an activist to see like so many people ignore the issues at hand in favor of discussing some sort of drama of the week. Like, dude, I don't fucking care, honestly.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, and you know who else doesn't care? Who else doesn't care? Like, working people. Tons of like actual activists on the ground who aren't in the Twitter sphere. Like, people in Yemen don't give a fuck about like
Julian Assange doesn't care that Jimmy Dore and the Vanguard guys are beefing. He doesn't give a shit. He's dying.
That's the issue that I have. Activists in Yemen don't give a fuck about Jimmy Dore versus TYT. Like, activists in Palestine don't give a fuck about that shit. The freedom fighters in Colombia don't give a flying fuck over like, oh man, Anna using Michael.
No, their friends are being beheaded
to get ahead in life. Like, I don't fucking care.
That's what's used and becomes popularized in American culture. That's the only way to get people to pay attention to it. But then it's a double-edged sword, because then people start paying attention to it, but they stop giving a shit about what the main thing is, and then they go into this. Oh, look at the fighting.
I think it's just a fodder. It's a fodder.
It is, and you also have the problem where it becomes easy clicks, and so every single content creator has to make a video about Jimmy Dore and TYT, and then they have to make a response video to a response video to a response video, and I don't give a shit. Like, it sucks all of the air and the energy out of the room, and it's like there's all these events happening for Julian Assange, and all of a sudden nobody's talking about it because everybody wants to talk about who's beefing with who. I don't give a shit.
I know I did it, but I did one video.
About, like everybody wanted to talk about Julian Assange in the context of like, oh man, well, Jimmy Dore got Julian Assange way more right than TYT, or with Syria. Oh man, TYT sucks because they got Syria wrong. Not, hey, here's what you can do to help Syrians. Why not uplift Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett, or Kevork, who also does great work covering Armenia too, which gets completely forgotten all the fucking time. Or like with the Julian Assange actions, you could be like, hey, as long as Julian Assange is like a topic, why don't we talk about these direct actions we can do? Or like, hey, while, you know, everybody's donating to these big feuding like media outlets, why don't we donate some money to the Yemen fund to help feed innocent Yemeni children that are getting fucking bombed? Like,
I legit thought about doing like a clickbaity video, like making the title like about TYT and Jimmy, and then like loading it with information, just like slamming it with like Julian Assange information.
Have to, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like, I'll do anything.
You know, that's kind of the thing that gets clicks is like today I was like, oh, are people mad at the Vanguard? Oh, I don't give a shit. You know
I don't give a shit.
I don't have time. And honestly, I mean, I watched their videos. They're fine. They're
kind of TMZ. Like, I think like it's all they talk about is the Twitter beefing. That's really all they cover.
Yeah,
that's it.
There's no content. There's no news there.
No,
right.
They're just echoing whatever they think, and that's it. And there's no research. It's just fodder for divisiveness, man. They put
it's
that.
Fluff.
But Missy kind of nailed it,
so that people will click on it and make it seem racy and relevant, but it's not really racy or irrelevant. It's really just a bunch of divisive garbage. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of shows are, or can't be if they go down that road. and just abandon the the journalistic integrity of having a show in the first
But
place.
but it's classic. I mean, this is how people, this is how they used to like detract away from the real story, is they make it into drama, right? So like this happened during Force the Vote too. Is I like my buddy of mine who isn't caught up in all this YouTube whatever, and is somebody that I don't agree with 100% of the time, but like we don't hate each other for it. Oh my God, how is that? That's so crazy. But he was talking to me about he was just like, what is Force the Vote? What the hell is going on? Why is everybody yelling about TYT? Because he retweeted something that I said, and that's so it like fed him a bunch of this shit. So I explained to him what Force the Vote was, and he was like, and what's TYT saying? And I was like, yeah, they're not for it. And he was like, why? And I was like, because they're not real fucking progressives. And he goes, what? So that was the best thing that came out of it, was like, okay,
Yes.
I got to like expose TYT for what they are to a good friend of mine that I didn't know watched TYT,
Well, yeah, there
regularly.
is some good has come out of this. Like a lot of people have been exposed for the absolute frauds that they are. And I think that that's really important. But I think that the problem lies in when it becomes an everyday, this is all we're going to talk about.
Right.
This is going to be the Twitter discourse. This is going to be this is going to be the YouTube discourse. This is everything we're going to talk about for a month. It's been like over a month and we're still talking about this shit.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And it's like you miss some important story. Like, I don't know if Jimmy's covered this or not, because I was like, all right, Jimmy and the TYT thing is getting out of
exhausting.
control. Like, yeah, and it was just like every video that came out from his channel was like, Jimmy crushes Anna's face, and it was just like, I don't care. Like, just
bro, they turned the whole thing into like one of those like how the freaking like some incel meme wars like caption about like a Ben Shapiro debate where it's just like, oh, Jimmy Dore destroys Anna Kasparian.
Yeah, and
or like Cenk wets the bed trying to start beef with Jimmy Dore.
I'm a big fan of Jimmy's and Steph.
I like Jimmy.
Like they're very, very cool people, super fucking nice. Like
they are really
but
nice.
That's the problem ended up being like I was like, hey, there's actually kind of a huge strike going on in Kansas that exposes corporations for what they are, and what's kind of cool about there's like a Frito-Lay strike going on, and there's people talking about, I talked about boycotting all of Frito-Lay's products because if in solidarity with the strikers, and
which is fucking hard.
Yeah,
but they're owned by Pepsi. Pepsi owns everything.
Pepsi, Coke, Pepsi, Oak, and Clorox.
Yeah.
They own a bunch of shit in your grocery
store. It's a lot of
store.
stuff to boycott, y'all. But and listen, I get why Jimmy focused on it, though. I do, because he was being smeared and they were blackmailing him, and he had no choice but to defend himself. I get all of that. I really do. And I think that it's really important that we make it clear that it's not okay to just blurt out that somebody's paid by Russians with absolutely no facts. That's
exactly
disgusting.
The big thing.
Yeah. Well, and also, okay, so like, I'm a big up the fam here, because like MCSC, how many smears do we have to deal with on a daily? Like we, like honestly, like we probably, Fee and Nico alone probably get as much, if not more shit than Jimmy Dore, because, Fee's a woman of color and Nico's a black man. Because of that alone, and like that doesn't even include like all of Misty's shit, or like all the fucking Fed shit that Steve has to deal with, or like what like me and Johnny have to deal with, just being flat out fucking ignored. So it's like, through all of that, we're somehow able to defend ourselves and still approach this whole issue as being activists, as focusing on the issues that fucking matter. Well, we're not in this for money. We're not in this to be cynical.
That's the difference.
To spread word of the fucking issues, because that's what it's about. And did I scare off Lubbers?
Maybe, I don't know. Glory, you're so right. But I think that that's the difference, because at MCSC, we're not trying to be like the next big independent content creator. We're not like journalists necessarily. We're activists who are in that space. You know what I'm saying? Like, we come from a space of activism. That's what we do. And honestly, the only reason I even do shows is because I know that it'll help me elevate my activism. It'll help me get people on the streets. It'll help me get, you know what I mean? It gives you that ability to boost things. And that's the only reason why.
right? Like all you guys.
Andrew
take all
gets
these
so
shots, and
jealous.
then the best
Can
I get is,
somebody
like,
please troll Andrew? One of my trolls. You guys
You
have
know
lots
what?
of time on your hands. Please go and give Andrew some
We
love.
have
Andrew,
been
I'll
Seriously.
troll
joined
you.
by
I'll
our
troll you.
viewers.
I wanted
I'll
to
create
No,
a
it
separate
doesn't
account.
count. Like we need like one of my really the people who spend all day focused on my timeline. Go give Andrew some love.
I don't have that kind of energy. I'm astounded that people do that to you.
Dude,
Like,
there are
it's
people that
crazy.
seriously, I tweet and within 3 minutes there are screenshots being passed around on Twitter and everybody's bitching about me. And it's like, what do you guys not have a life? Do you not do anything else?
No.
And I know that they have me set to alerts so that every time I tweet, they see it. And so that way they can share it all in the group chat. And I just honestly don't know what kind of a loser you have to be that's your life. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah,
I barely have enough time to like deal with, I am on Twitter a lot, but I don't even have time for my own Twitter account. Like there are times I am just over, like I look and I have like so many notifications. I'm just like, nope, I can't. I'm not doing it. I'm not scrolling through them. Nobody's getting responded to today because I just can't. So
the way I think about it is the things that we wouldn't focus on. Like if I'm going, like I go and bring up like Assange and everything, like everywhere I am, doesn't matter, from the grocery store, no matter what, because I feel like that's really important. And just like, getting it out there, planting that seed. You don't know, you never know where it will go. But I'm not going to bring up like TYT bullshit or,
no.
you know what I mean, any of the Vanguard bullshit. I'm not bringing that up. That's not. I'm not going to be like,
news.
oh, wait until you hear all this drama about. When you're trying to educate and pull somebody into this, you got to focus on what's important.
Well, and Misty
isn't. You got to filter it through and say, no, this is what's important. There's people locked away. There's, you know what I mean, like inhumane things happening. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, there's all this infighting and drama. We got to focus on what really matters and bring the attention to that. Focus on that.
So on that note, the next Free Commander X rally is going to take place October 12th. We haven't finalized a time yet, but I think that it should be at 9 a.m. because that way, there's a chance that like they'll actually be able to hear us through the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So, no, I just think that'll be cool if like they're doing their little like bullshit legal jargon, and then you just hear Free Commander X, SOS USA.
All the other
What?
courts that are happening at that same time too, because then grandma with a traffic ticket sitting in court has to hear Free Commander X while her judge is trying to proceed with a normal court session. So I think that's fucking great, starting right basically as court gets started for the day.
Yeah.
But
or to
I do
confuse
want
that
to
grandma.
Absolutely.
But I mean, either way, it's a win-win. Confuse
Yeah.
grandma that thinks she's Commander X, and we throw her off for her whole day.
If you
That's
guys have a really good sign or a banner, you should remind people, hey, take a picture of it so that you remember, like, to go back to this later, this website or, whatever, because then it's also in their phone. And then you can be like, hey, you should post it too. Check out the website, post a picture. You know what I mean? We're trying to spread, news on this. Because once you get it in somebody's phone, they're going to remember that. If it's in their photos, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that picture there, So it's a way to get people.
That's a good idea.
She's so practical.
It's so quick that people everything is so quick. People don't remember anything. You have like 3 seconds of attention.
Yeah.
So get them to do something like that where they're actually physically doing something. It's in their phone, and everybody goes on social media and goes, to post pictures. They're gonna remember. They're gonna see that.
Yeah.
The only good thing about the fact that the next court date isn't until October 12th is the fact that we do have more time to gather up some sort of like, a lot more public support for Commander X, and really, like just be able to do what we try and do at Julian, where we can build up a network of solidarity and public support, so that way the next event can be even bigger. So
that's a good idea.
But Steve and Lucky, I would like to thank you guys very much for joining us. We're going to have Mark Lubbers hopping in here in a couple minutes. But if you guys could give people final thoughts and where they can find you and the awesome art that you guys do.
Yeah, you can add us on Twitter. I'm Steve Rain Dude, spelled DEWD, and And Lucky is Mama Bear Leo, MAMABEARLEO.
And we
Cool.
have a Discord, a Lucky Burrito Discord, and so you can catch us in those places. And we have the Shopify for the Commander X and Assange stuff that is going to help raise money for those guys.
Thanks so
Yay!
much.
Thanks for doing it. Thanks for doing that stuff and
Yeah.
for donating
kicking
it to our actions. That's really cool of you guys to do. So we appreciate it. It'll help us like be able to do more for sure.
We love you.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Stay
all you
up.
do.
All right. I love them. They're great. We have some of the best people in our chats and like in our like that have our backs. You know what I'm saying? Like even on Twitter, when I get all those stupid ass trolls, there are people who I don't even have to deal with it anymore. People will just come in and be like, fuck you, dude, and go off. And I'm like, this is great. I don't even have to like defend myself anymore. It's fantastic. Not that I do defend myself against these people anymore, because it legitimately doesn't matter what I say. I could be like Mother Teresa. I could like save a dozen puppies on my way to put out a fire at a orphanage and save all the children. And they would still call me fascist adjacent and a Nazi collaborator and all of those things. So there's no pleasing them. It doesn't matter.
Speaking of fashion adjacent, Mark Lubbers.
Oh my god, what did I join into? Like,
It's just a cackle fest. We just had some great artists.
My cheeks
on
kind of
with
hurt
us.
from smiling a little bit, actually.
That's the goal.
I know, right? We're only an hour in, though, dude. I got another whole hour. My cheeks already hurt.
I mean, there's a tons of.
It's not
tons of
often we
news
get to
get
like
through.
laugh and giggle on this show. Usually it's really dark stuff that we're talking about. So I'll take it.
And it will be.
Plenty of that
We
to
actually
come.
have Mark in where I want to talk about what X is actually being charged with, the violations for international asylum and what that means for literally anyone, anywhere, but also the Pegasus Project shit. So we gotta, and then I have Consortium News's article clipped out for like why it actually matters that the teenager portion fell apart. So we got a whole bunch of fun stuff to dig into.
Fun stuff. Andrew's about to ruin my night.
Yeah.
At least we're not talking about special administrative measures again, because that bums me out hard.
Right? Right.
Oof. I can't
But-
sleep after those shows.
But how are you doing today, Mark? How's everything? Thank you so much, buddy.
yeah, I'm okay. I was planning to stream this whole trial thing, right? And then it only lasted 8 minutes. Yeah, and they delayed it to October 12th.
He does this all
yeah.
the time. All the time.
Ah.
Andrew, like, I'm like the most awkward person. Gloria, I don't know if you've seen the couple times. He like Andrew and then our guest both just like I'll be right back. And I'm like by myself. I'm like just sitting there
I'm
like,
used to
okay,
it from ABB.
I'm all by myself. I don't know what to say. He does it all the time. He just walks off.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mark, tell us about what happened today, what the charges are. Give us like some backstory, because I think most people that watch this show like know who X is, but some people might not know the details, the specifics.
And since it's only 8 minutes, you can literally go minute by minute.
Yeah, no, what I did earlier was pretty
Glory
much
kind of did.
minute by
Glory did
minute.
that pretty much earlier. But like, if Mark can give us like some more backstory about like the Orlando stuff and all of that, what they're actually charging him with, all of that stuff, maybe that would be helpful.
Okay. Yeah. So technically, the main charge is him skipping his bail. Right. He didn't appear. But what I was surprised with was that actually they were suggesting that he might be switched to Florida for this case. I'm not sure, Gloria. Did you see that part?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is they still haven't figured out whether or not they want to do that yet.
Yeah.
It seems like they don't know, like they don't know what they're doing right now. Yeah.
Is Florida going to get him a harsher sentence?
Well, I think what they'll try to do is if we can build social pressure in California for what he's facing, ship him to Florida, then you're on the whole other part of the country. So I think the strategy should be to organize in Florida where he would be held, while also organizing.
Well, little do they know, we have fams in Florida too. you know,
Florida also
you
has
can't.
shittier prisons. That's what Keith
Yeah.
said when I was
Oh, yeah.
talking with him earlier today. Really glad I got to meet Keith again. I know I said that before, but I'm so excited I got to meet him. But like one of the
That
things
is
that
pretty
we were
legendary.
talking about was him being like detained in I think Broward County specifically, and how like really shit it is there. So,
Are you now a domestic extremist since you met Keith McHenry? Did he rub off on you?
If
You're a
it's
domestic
Broward
extremist?
County, that's literally Debbie Wasserman Schultz's
Yes, it
county.
is.
Like
Caveat.
that is the Democratic asshole of corruption. Like even more so than like Gavin Newsom and all of that. Like these people openly rigged an election against Tim Canova to the
Like
twice,
trucks
to the
full of
point that
ballots.
the woman in charge had to step down from the Board of Elections, Brenda Snipes, because she was literally just burning things. She's like, "Yeah, we burned that." Like, well, oh, I signed it and we
And they
burned
were
it. Like,
supposed
I'm
to hold
sorry.
ballots for like, weren't they supposed to hold ballots for like 18 months or something? And they got rid of them after like 10. I don't know what the numbers were, but
it was just some ridiculous thing. So,
all kinds of shenanigans.
So that's horrifying to know that he may end up in Broward County, because that is not a place friendly to anyone.
he'd end up in Orlando, but I brought up Broward County because that's where Keith was telling me that he's being detained, that where he was detained specifically.
Got it, dude. Okay, so
Yeah.
Do you have the video of the trial, Mark?
Yeah. Do you want to play it like from the YouTube? Because I put it on the YouTube. Maybe that's the easiest, but. Should I send it to you, or
you might be able to do it from. I don't
can
know.
look it up real quick. It was on Anonymous.
Oh yeah,
Worldwide,
I
right?
actually have it open in a tab because Pamela Drew has a really good article out. If you go to her Substack, she's done some really good updates on this case, and there's also in her most recent article has the YouTube video in it, and it also has like a summary of it. Granted, it's a short summary because it was a short hearing, but yeah. And then
I got it right here. Do you have it like preloaded, Gloria?
yes, I do.
Okay.
I can share screen.
Because mine usually tries to crash if it has to load in. Play at the
Yeah, I
same
got
time.
you. Let me make sure I'm sharing.
Are we gonna play the whole thing, Andrew?
Yeah, we can. It was only 7
Like
minutes.
7
It's not
minutes.
terrible.
Okay.
And then there it is. Let me know if y'all can hear it too.
United States versus Christopher Dullion. Counsel, if you would please state your appearances, and if we could begin with the government and then move to defendant.
Good morning, Your Honor. Susan Knight for the United States. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jay Rorty with Christopher Dullion. He is present by video. He consents to a video appearance based on the necessity of the pandemic.
Thank you. And thank you for that waiver. Yes, it is necessary for us to continue to do some of these hearings by Zoom. And this one certainly qualifies. All right, Ms. Knight, this is the initial appearance before me in this case, although this case was filed many years ago. What can you tell me?
Your Honor, thank you for signing the notice of related cases. Yes. I've been in touch with Mr. Rorty regarding discovery and producing discovery to him. There also, Mr. Dullion has also been charged in the Middle District of Florida. And so I put Mr. Rorty in touch with AUSA Roger Hamburg about a possible Rule 20 to the Northern District of California. So we are providing discovery. Mr. Rorty is exploring a Rule 20 transfer here. So that's the current status of the case.
Okay, and this is I'm just trying to figure out exactly what this was. This is a single defendant case, is that correct?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, CR 11-00683. There was a co-defendant, Joshua Cavelli, but his case resolved many years ago.
Thank you.
So he's been charged in that. And then we have the 2012 case, which is the failure to appear.
Right. And that'll just trail along and we'll see how we handle that later. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mr. Rorty, what can you tell me?
Your Honor, I agree with all of Ms. Knight's representations. The parties have met and conferred, not only myself with Ms. Knight, but myself also with the Assistant United States Attorney in the Middle District of Florida. As Ms. Knight indicated, I anticipate receiving some discovery from the Middle District of Florida that will allow the potential for a global resolution through Rule 20 before this court as to all matters. As the court may glean from the indictment, both the Middle District of Florida case and the 2011 case involve computer intrusion. So I anticipate that there's a significant amount of discovery related to not only a variety of reports, but some significant digital discovery that may require analysis. Accordingly, it is my suggestion that we set the matter for further status, perhaps in early October, by which time I believe that we can both achieve the transmission of complete discovery as to all matters and reach at least a preliminary decision as to whether the matters may be resolved by that time. My suggestion might be October 5th or 12th, if those dates are available in the court and council's calendar.
Okay, so Ms. Knight, what kind of time frame do you think there'll be in transferring the Florida case to my docket?
Well, Your Honor, I think Mr. Rorty needs to further discuss and review the evidence from that case. So, and then decide whether, I mean, his client needs to make a decision, Mr. Doyen needs to make a decision on that. So, you know, I'm deferring to Mr. Rorty on that regarding the analysis of that discovery.
That's fair. Then, Mr. Rorty, do you anticipate that by October you will have made that decision?
I certainly hope so. I'm assuming that the Middle District of Florida will provide sufficient discovery for Mr. Doyen and I to consult and make a decision regarding Rule 20. But I think at this point, it's premature to assume that the case will be transferred, only that by early October, we will have a report to the court as to whether or not that process should occur.
Okay, and that's certainly fair enough. Is the Florida case from the same era as this one, or is it new?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. It's I believe it's a 2013,
I believe.
Yeah, it's a 2013 charge alleging a violation. Yep. So that's correct.
Okay, well then we'll wait and see. I think it makes sense to give you a little bit of a runway to get the discovery and to evaluate these issues. So Tiffany, is there an early October date that would be available?
Yes, Your Honor, October 12th.
Okay, and is there a request to exclude time until that date, Mr. Rorty, for effective preparation? And Ms. Knight, if you'd prepare STIP in order to that effect, that would be helpful.
I'll go back here.
13, I believe.
Yeah, it's a 2013 charge alleging a violation. Yep. So that's correct.
Okay, well then we'll wait and see. I think it makes sense to give you a little bit of a runway to get the discovery and to evaluate these issues. So Tiffany, is there an early October date that would be available?
Yes, Your Honor, October 12th.
Okay, and is there a request to exclude time until that date, Mr. Rorty, for effective preparation?
There is, Your Honor. Based on the representations I've made this morning, I believe that the review of the discovery I've described here will encompass the time between today and October 12th, and would request an exclusion of time for effective preparation of counsel on that basis.
All right, then I will grant that request. I will exclude time until October 12, 2021. I will set this matter for status hearing on October 12 at 9 a.m. And Ms. Knight, if you'd prepare STIP in order to that effect, that would be helpful.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then and I guess I need an exclusion of time on the now related case in 12 CR 426. Is that correct? We're going to continue that one as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
And my request for exclusion of time was designed to encompass both cases. I should indicate that I have not received such discovery as there is with respect to that case as well, and we'll need to review that discovery also.
Okay, so Ms. Knight, if you could assist in that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, Your Honor.
I do see in my file here that there was a judgment on forfeiture on the bond that was issued in 2012. I assume that's related to the separate charge in the 426 case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's fine. All right then. And I don't even have both files in front of me today, but I will grant the request for exclusion of time in the companion case as well. And Ms. Knight, your stipend order will incorporate both cases so that it's clear that there's been an exclusion on both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, thank
And
you all.
Your Honor, may I make one more comment?
Yes.
The court makes a good point regarding the prior forfeiture. Perhaps the record should indicate that I have notified the surety against whom forfeiture was levied of Mr. Doyon's presence in the district, to the extent that that surety has rights and remedies with respect to a rescind, to move the court to rescind forfeiture and set aside any forfeiture in that matter. I have notified that surety. I do not represent them, but they are on notice and may take action as they deem appropriate.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see. I don't know what the time limits are on that, but certainly if they have rights, they're welcome to pursue them before me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good. Thank you. Then I will see everyone in October. Mr. Doyon, I will see you again in October. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And that's the only thing we have on Zoom?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. See you in the courtroom then.
Recording.
There. Woo!
Boy, that was really action-packed. Such
drama.
bullshit. You can tell it's
Justice!
bullshit. Right? This is our justice system,
And that's
fans.
why we protested at noon. So
Yeah. Yeah. It is garbage.
So October 12th, everybody. I'll add it to the countdown, the number of days until
Yeah.
X's next trial date.
We need to put how many days he's been since he was kidnapped.
Yeah, we have that
Add
at
that.
39.
Oh, do we? Oh, that's right. I read it even. Oh, I'm tired today, you guys. Sorry. Okay, listen. I took on, you guys know I do this. I took on more than I should have again. And so I'm just tired. That's all.
But that's the sad part, right? That he is actually kidnapped from Mexico, and now he has to wait till October 12th.
That's what pisses me off. Is he's stuck there now until October 12th, at least.
Was there anything? Could they have done anything earlier? Why didn't they pick like a little bit earlier of a date?
Because they don't have a case, and so they have to.
Yeah,
make
it sounds
one.
like Florida's not even ready to send anything over for a case that happened almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
And the
Amazing.
horrifying part, right, about Commander X's whole situation is he was the first American ever to receive political asylum in the nation of Mexico from the United States, right? So he was literally supposed to not be accostable by the United States government, that there was supposed to be this intangible, invisible line in the sand, literally and proverbially, that the U.S. isn't supposed to cross because of all of these treaties and all of this information. But we literally just sent fucking goons in t-shirts to snag this man and drag him back.
Isn't
to
this
the US.
terrifying to you guys? Because Ecuador did it to Julian Assange, and now Mexico did it to X. And are you really safe anywhere?
Well, I
no.
mean, that's what we've been saying, and that's why this case is so important, because like it represents the death of asylum rights. Because the thing with asylum, as Andrew was saying, is even once you enter the process of asylum, the government that you're trying to gain asylum from, they're not allowed to notify the government that you're seeking asylum, like to get away from. Like they're not allowed to notify that government, and they're not allowed to take any steps to return you to that previous state. And we translated that directly from like X's original asylum application. So like even if he was denied, which there's media and all kinds of corroborating like articles and Wikipedia articles and tweets to show that he wasn't, like even if he was denied, then as long as that process was ongoing, then he had protection.
That's the case though, right? Like that's the whole thing. I think that's you can use that, and then it's like, all right, guys, sounds like the United States fucked up.
Well, the problem is, yes, that's
Like-
the case. I mean, that's kind of the same thing that we have with Julian Assange, and dude has been in prison for over 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's
they'll
the
drag
problem.
this shit out, and they will wear X down, and he's already old, and he's in poor health, and it's fucked up what they're doing to him. Process is the punishment. That is. I know we
And
say it all the time. That's legit.
And
But
like
that's the
Steve
problem,
says,
is like-
this seems like the Biden government and the Democratic Party reaching back to punish old political rivals. Because this happened in Orlando, Florida, where there was a weekend DDoS attack, I believe it was, on a tourism website.
For
And
their
that's what they're
draconian
trying to stick
treatment
them
of the
up for.
homeless, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
the reason why these DDoS attacks even happened was because of how cops would go after food, not bombs, and particularly because of how these counties, specifically, Orange County in Florida or Kissimmee County, I forget which specific one it is, but one of those two counties, and Santa Clara County here in California, like, because of how they treat their homeless, which is awful. I mean, there's nothing to be like, there's no justification for that. There's no justification for that treatment of the homeless. And like, if people are going to protest that, then like, why the fuck are we criminalizing that? I mean, like, that's the kind of shit where, we should be out here screaming like SOS USA or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Well,
is what I
that's-
was screaming outside the courthouse. Fun fact.
That's that's the problem, though, is there's a choice as to which laws they want to enforce.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I mean, because that's the argument that everybody will make is, oh, well, Julian had asylum and Commander X had asylum, but they got taken away anyway. The United States wouldn't break those kinds of laws. They must have done something. And it's like, no. They're choosing to enforce and obey certain laws and not certain laws. That's the reality.
Y'all, the
right?
number
Like,
of laws that have been broken in the Assange case
is bonkers.
astronomical. I mean, they had cameras in the embassy. They
Yeah.
had microphones in the bathroom. They were spying on journalists and his
Just so-
lawyers, and they were
just so
stealing
fun.
diapers.
Oh
and
my-
it's
McCann.
unreal that this case is even still a thing
But
because
it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy because this is part of that, like, hyper nationalism from liberals, because they look at a case like Assange and this and they go, no, the United States doesn't take people out of asylum. We wouldn't do that. We're the good guys, right? Oh, the Biden administration is here, the Obama, but that's, I know it's, but that's the way that these people think. And
Yeah,
it's like,
Christoph from Reporters Without Borders.
what?
Yeah, no, this guy from Reporters
Oh my
Without
God.
Borders,
I thought you forgot my name for a second. I was like, what?
No.
They
Christoph Del
Rich.
Wire is the
bumped us up.
Secretary General of Reporters Without Borders, and him and a couple of the press freedom advocacy groups like Committee to Protect Journalists, they had a meeting with Secretary Blinken on World Press Freedom Day, so they
didn't
could
even
discuss
talk
how
about
to police other countries' treatment of journalists, despite the fact that they mentioned nothing about Julian Assange. So I saw that tweet gloating about the meeting, and I was like, oh.
Glory went
Julian
after
Assange.
this dude. Glory
Okay,
went
yeah.
after this dude. It was beautiful. She was having none of it. Glory had none of it. Like, she spammed the shit out of this guy.
It's a fucking joke for at this point. It's, again, this becomes unarguable. It's a fucking joke to think that the United States upholds press freedoms or human rights or like any of the like
Well, this
people
is the
that
cover
people
they
that think
get,
that it's
so-
like, where do you fucking live?
So
What
check
world
this
do you
out,
live
right?
in?
Because everyone's been shitting on the Intercept, so I'll add to it.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. If you are a whistleblower, stay the fuck away from the
Because-
Intercept.
Yeah.
Use a secure drop in WikiLeaks or friends at LocalLeaks. Don't use your real fucking name. Don't use Signal. Don't use a Gmail.
And
don't
stay
text
away
it.
from
Don't-
the Intercept.
So
Yeah.
Far away.
lead to something else, not to the Intercept.
Not to the Intercept ever. Ever, ever. Don't do it.
You could
So
choose the gray
I just
zone
want to
or
point something
mid-press
out because
news.
this is it's a decent article that the Intercept put out about all of the legal implications, but they refer to Gordon Kromberg as a prosecutor, right, throughout this entire thing. And this is one of those major liberal publications. At the time of Julian's prosecution, he was referred to as the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, Gordon Kromberg, not Prosecutor Kromberg. So even things like this supposedly wonderful intercept, won't even call someone out by the title that they had when they were acting in such a fascistic way. They refer to them just as a prosecutor instead of the assistant U.S. Attorney General.
Fuck the Intercept.
But overall, that's actually an okay article. Like, not to bash the article itself, because it does do a decent job of talking about Kronberg. But they just
really
have a lot of
depends on who
shitty
writes it.
framings around Julian's case. Like the interview that Ken Klippenstein and them did with Chelsea. Wonderful interview. But who'd have thunk that a Bellingcat publication would spin it in a way to try to make Ken Klippenstein seem like a superhero with Signal and put Julian Assange down into the dirt? Like, it's just gross.
Andrew, you're trying to piss me off by bringing up that Intercept
Yeah.
interview. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Andrew doesn't get as mad as
We're
we
not
do
gonna
about
get
that.
into that right
I will.
now.
I'll
No.
because I
with something
liked
like
the
the Intercept.
updates. I liked the information that she put out. Like the fact that she, for the first time I was finding out, literally said, "Hey, I didn't say anything at all about this. Like, I don't even know what they were questioning me about because I didn't get past the first question." So I think things like that are really like just important to understand and
Yeah,
know.
and then you want to walk it off that because she throws.
Well, I mean, with the
Julian
with stuff like the
Assange
Intercept,
and
like
props up
it really
the Intercept.
depends. It really depends on the writer, and then I mean, what we saw with Glenn Greenwald is there's stuff that gets cut on the editing floor.
Well, the
Because
thing
that's
about
how they
Chelsea that
operate.
pissed me off the most, honestly, is that she then lent credibility to the Intercept. And as a whistleblower, lending credibility to the Intercept is dangerous. You shouldn't be doing that. Whistleblowers should have nothing to do with the Intercept. They have burned at least 3 sources. And then somebody that currently works for them had burned John Kiriakou before he was with the Intercept. So that's 4 sources that we know of that people who work at the Intercept have burned. You should be going nowhere near the Intercept. And that's why I say it so often, because she lent credibility to them that they do not deserve.
Bro,
at
the
all.
Intercept's idea of
That
a
was
secure
weird.
drop is Ken Klippenstein going on Twitter and saying, if you are military intelligence and have any
Here's
secrets,
my signal.
please message me on Signal.
Yeah. Don't message Ken Klippenstein on Signal.
Unless
ever.
it's a troll.
Unless you're just spamming his
Unless
shit.
it's a troll.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I got no time for them. None whatsoever. I have no love for the Intercept.
Speaking
they
of Signal,
dope out.
What about Signal?
I don't know.
Oh.
I thought that was going to be a segue into the spyware shit.
Oh. What else do we have,
talk
Andrew?
about Pegasus? Can we talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Yes, I think we should. I have like a weird hair right here that I don't look at myself in the camera very often, but every time I like glance down at you guys, it's like sticking out and I can see it and it's driving me nuts.
I do that all the time with my hair, and then
I don't
I'm
look
like,
at
I know
myself
if I
on camera
touch it-
ever. I hate it. I don't like listening to myself. This is why I don't make clips. I had an awesome show on Bitch last week with the ladies from FHL, and there's a huge opportunity for clips. Can't do it. Can't listen to myself. Don't want to. Somebody else do it because I don't want to.
It's hard. I don't
hate
like
it.
doing it.
It's
yeah.
torturous.
Yeah, I have to do it if I'm like editing stuff, and I'm just like, ugh.
And then
that's
somebody
how I
was
say
like, well, just
words?
listen to it at like 1.5 speed. So that way you can get through it faster. That's worse. Listening to myself sounding like Mickey Mouse. Like, no, I can't. It's torture. So bad.
I just criticize the way I say words whenever I do that. I'm like, that's the inflection you chose? Ugh, you're a piece of shit.
I just I rant. No, I know. I rant and
just immediately
I
goes
catch
like that.
myself in the moment too. I'll be like, Jesus, I'm so ranty. Like I say that all the time. I said it a couple times during that show, but then when I listened to it back and I realized how ranty I was, I'm like, God, shut up. Can't help it. All right, Andrew, let's do it. Pegasus. Let's go. Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. I don't have anything prepared for it. I was just going to talk
Oh,
about
okay.
Okay,
Cynic-
I can jump on that.
Yeah. Do that.
Because I have a Guardian article pulled up, but I don't want to use the Guardian because they're trash.
Fuck the Guardian
Yeah.
too.
I have the Amnesty graphic too, which I can pull it up quick, but I wanted to use it to make a point. But first, we have to do like the background and introduction first.
Let's do that. Go for it, Mark.
Okay, so it didn't start with that Guardian article, but it is presented as being a new thing, and that we're all in shock now that this Pegasus thing exists. So apparently that this NSO group, which is an Israeli company, created this spyware that can specifically target the iPhone next to Android phones, and it's aimed at journalists. Well, pretty much anyone can be targeted by it, but there was a huge list of journalists on it. At least 180 journalists were on it. So the interesting thing about it is that Apple has always presented itself as delivering the most secure phones, which has been true for a while, and that is one main reason, and that is that every program on an Apple phone is like restricted to its own little box. So if it gets compromised, people can't compromise the whole phone, just that little software on it. Say it in a simple way. But this Pegasus software is able to take over your entire phone. And that's done through a system called iMessage, which is available on every iPhone. All the iPhones are affected, even the latest ones. There's no update protecting it against it. So, and there's one other thing that's very worrying. That is that other spyware in the past always, required you to click something, like a bad link or something. You get sent a link and you click it and your phone is infected or your computer is infected. In this case, it doesn't require it. It can be remotely injected. So no user input needed. They can just hack your phone from a distance. That's very scary. And it's able to activate.
It's fine. They'd never do that.
No, of course. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what they also said. And that's what actually Edward Snowden actually talked about today. I think it's like 5 hours ago. He made a new tweet about it. That's that they claimed it's not active in the USA. And USA phones can't be affected. Snowden said yeah.
I was worried.
Yeah, Snowden said like there is no difference between US phones and other phones. Like whatever works on an iPhone somewhere else in the world will also work on an iPhone in the USA, right? And what he didn't mention, but what I did say earlier on a broadcast was that, well, imagine people using like VPNs, for example. You use a VPN on your phone and it's set to a United States IP address, a United States VPN, right? Then you aren't actually in the USA, but you're regarded as USA. And then this also works the other way around. So you have you're in the USA, you're a US journalist, but you're using a VPN in Canada, and Canada is not protected against this whole thing because they claim only USA people are not affected. Well, you're using a VPN in Canada. Technically, you're not protected, and they don't know it's you from the USA behind it, so they can still infect you too if they want to protect against that statement, which totally is not true, but that's what they're claiming. But there's one other thing, and that is that Pegasus isn't new, and they're pretending it is new, and that this suddenly is news. But already in 2018, there were articles about Pegasus, and already in 2006, if you search for Pegasus, there you'll find 2018 articles. But already in 2016, Apple knew it was being targeted by this company, and they actually released patches against the spyware already. There are articles about that too. You can all find them on whatever search engine. So this has been going on for a while, at least since 2016. So that's 5 years. So for 5 years, they've already been spying on all these journalists. And back then, this is from the 2018 article, they were already directly targeting journalists involved with the Jamal Khashoggi case. And it was Saudi Arabia in contact with the NSO group, asking them to create this software. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that case, but it happened in Saudi Arabia. It was a journalist and people close to him and supporters or people investigating that case with the Jamal Khashoggi have all been targeted by this software.
Are you talking about
and it
Khashoggi
didn't even just
or are you talking about the people around him? Because Jamal was the one that was like semi-intelligence asset taken into the embassy and then bonesawed, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was simply was assassinated by the Saudi government in Istanbul in Turkey, I guess. But everyone investigating that and all his friends like around him, everyone involved with him was all being targeted by that spyware. So they were all tracked and their phones listened to, their messages read. And this spyware is able to target everything, like from WhatsApp to your camera directly to, and they know exactly where you are with it. They can do pretty much anything with your phone. So
could do you remember back when
amnesty.
Glenn Greenwald was doing the releases on Bolsonaro and the Brazilian government, and he got contacted by someone saying that if they had Telegram installed on their phone that he could access it, and that's how he got that information about Bolsonaro and all that. Do you know what software that could potentially be and what had been used there?
well, technically, this spyware can do the same thing too. Definitely, because it can take
Yeah.
full control over your phone. Yeah.
Because I don't want to like say or guess or assume that it is anything, because I don't know enough about any of the softwares to even try. But I didn't know if you may have some insight on if it could have been the same kind of thing.
Even without assuming what the name of the software is, like we can without a doubt, based off of pure patterns of surveillance that we've seen against journalists, come to a logical conclusion that yes, this is because, okay, so in the amnesty graphic, they say it's only being used in 11 countries. So Mexico, Morocco, Hungary, Azerbaijan, of course, Kazakhstan, UAE, Bahrain, India, Saudi Arabia, Togo, and Rwanda. Bruh. They say 180 journalists and 50,000 phone numbers, but you expect me to believe that it's not being used in the UK or France or China or Israel or, I don't know, the fucking US.
Yeah.
Or Brazil or Chile or Colombia.
It's being used literally everywhere, I think. I mean, I don't think.
And that's my criticism of how the coverage of it is happening, is it's centering like so few countries, and it's trying to turn this whole thing into like
spin it. Yeah,
into like a limited hangout almost. And that's what and me and Steve were actually talking about this earlier, where he was basically saying like, they're like, the story has some truth to it, but they're still using it as a distraction in a way to distract from the fact that the software already exists and it's being used on a massive scale. And that's just something that we can deduce based off of patterns of surveillance and how journalists have been treated, like how journalists are treated covering protests, or how protesters are treated during protests when they're just recording shit.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that this is just an example of software, right? And it's pretty much just like the canary in the coal mine, right? This is the thing. This is an example. There's like probably tens or hundreds of different intelligence agencies using similar software against journalists, against dissidents. Luckily, we found out about this, but there's a lot more going on. And what we actually have to take from this is that this is actually happening, and we have to just be vigilant about everything, and we have to like look into what other intelligence agencies are doing against us, because in the past, Germany has been caught, for example, doing it to people. There was this software called FinFisher. If you look, you can read back about that. They were also remotely hacking into devices, computers, and phones. And there's also a commercial company selling this whole this software on the market, and it had similar capabilities. And this is only a few years ago. If you type it in FinFisher, you see like literally their website, and it says like we partner exclusively with law enforcement and intelligence agencies, being your reliable partner and trusted advisor. So there was software called FinSpy, and it is a surveillance software marketed by Lens IT Solutions, which markets the spyware through law enforcement channels. Well, they were spreading this too all over Europe. And then if you scroll a bit down, you see like a YouTube video from 2015. The Ugandan government deployed Finfisher spyware to cross opposition. German prosecutors investigate spyware maker Finfisher. And it was also targeting the Mac OS, so that is already an Apple software again. It was found in Egypt. So it goes on, and that is like, so intelligence and governments are using this around the world against journalists.
Not just journalists too. This is, I mean, like heads of state. I mean, Emmanuel Macron was on on there. Like, it's heads of state that they're also spying on, which I don't give a fuck because fuck those guys. But
I mean, they're puppets, anyways. You know, they have every single tab possible on them.
Yeah, but it's all. I mean, also, this is an Israeli firm that developed this software. They're now in full-on panic mode. I just found this article on Axios where they said that the Israeli government is forming a special team to manage the fallout from reports that software developed by Israeli firm NSO was used by governments around the world to spy on journalists, human rights activists, and possibly world leaders, too, Israeli officials tell me. So they're in full-on damage control right now.
Well, it's anti-Semitic to not want to get your devices hacked. Missy.
Obviously. You know, how dare you, Andrew? Yes.
According to the State Department.
Yes. According to a lot of people.
Well, I saw an article pop up. I don't know how true it is. I didn't look through all of it, but that like Amazon is removing them from their hosting servers. So not only are they doing it, they're using Amazon as the people that
of course they are.
That's such a fall guy tactic, bro. Amazon partnered with law enforcement agencies to help track protesters through their Ring doorbells.
Y'all, they have a deal with the CIA.
They also have a deal with the CIA and surveil any of their workers who plan to create, another union or try and go on strike. You expect them to not have some sort of fingers in some other surveillance.
I would be shocked if they weren't involved in something like this, to be honest with you. If there's ever something like some kind of creepy surveillance thing going on, Jeff Bezos is in there somewhere.
That's how you can tell that they're
Jeffy B. Chris just called him Jeffy B.
That's what I call him. I disrespect him by making him
and
a
his
child.
Penis
which
rocket.
He is. Yes.
Mr. Compensation.
Ugh.
What a turd.
You make a rocket that looks exactly
like
a
He really does look exactly like a penis. And I have to think that he knew that it looked exactly like a penis.
There's no fucking way that he didn't.
Come on, it looks like a penis. You can't look at it and be like, that doesn't look like a penis.
Well, I mean, rocket ships are like Viagra for billionaires, apparently.
Seriously, this is like they're like taxpayers subsidize their little space fantasies while people are starving.
He confessed to it. He confessed to it.
Yeah.
Like he fucking, when they interviewed him about
he thanked his employees for funding this.
Employees and his customers for funding it. And it's like, this is what they fucking do. This is why you don't need billionaires. It's a bunch of people giving us those
much more accurate investigation, Lubbers.
Yeah, because you said it was like 11 countries, right? Well, this is an article. I dropped this in the chat.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's an article from 2018, and it says they have operations in 45 countries. Well, it's the same software, Pegasus.
I can't pull it up without getting on. Is that okay? Cool. I'm gonna pull that article up.
Sorry, but how many people are going to go back, 2 years to look at what's going on?
Right.
Yeah, and then you have I only posted because you guys mentioned the Amazon thing. That suddenly they removed them now, but apparently this is already since 2018, so why not 3 years ago? Like, they were aware of this. It's not like that we just randomly find this and they were unable to find this.
Of course they were aware of it.
Yeah, I'll screen share this real quick, because just the key facts literally like blow apart everything that's being said right now.
And also, you guys can go to wikileaks.org, and in the little handy dandy search bar, there's stuff in there about Pegasus too.
So
since 2011, in fact, 2011.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, between August
thank you, Julian.
and August 2018, we scanned the internet for several associated NSO Group Pegasus software or spyware. I found 191 IP addresses that match our fingerprint, and 1,091 IP addresses that match our fingerprint, and 1,014 domain names that pointed to them. We developed and used Athena, a novel technique to cluster some of the matches into 36 distinct Pegasus systems, one of which appears to be run by a separate operator. We designed and conducted a global DNS cache probing study to match domain names in order to identify which countries and which operators was spying. Our technique identified a total of 45 countries that Pegasus operators may be conducting surveillance operations, and at least 10 Pegasus operators appear to be actively engaged in cross-border surveillance. Our findings paint a bleak picture of human rights risks of NSO's global proliferation. At least 6 countries with significant Pegasus operations have previously been linked to abusive use of spyware to target civil society, including Bahrain, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Pegasus also appears to be used by countries with dubious human rights records and histories of abusive behavior by state security services. In addition, we have found indications of possible political themes within targeting materials in several countries, casting doubt on whether the technology is being used as part of a legitimate criminal investigation.
What the fuck? That's so nuts.
Yeah, so now they're releasing these articles just downplaying the whole thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
That's the
just 11
spin.
countries.
They got to spin it now. Damage control.
Right, and
This
if
is
it
how
was
it always
45
works.
countries then, and who even knows if that's all of them, that's just the power that they had.
It's not. Like Lori said, come on, y'all. You
Or-
really think they're not using this in the United States?
Or something by any other name, literally. Like look at what Volt 7 showed us. That's hundreds of
Yeah.
different exploits
Yeah.
for individual pieces of technology.
Yes.
Which is why you should always drive a stick shift car.
Fair, actually. I
You
mean,
sound like Steve now.
I miss driving a stick shift, you guys. I was thinking about that earlier today when I was driving. Oh, I miss it. I miss it.
Yeah, the good old days, right?
Not the good. I don't know. Is it the good old days? I don't know.
Not a lot
Sure.
of people drive stick shift anymore.
No, that's true. But I used to drive a stick shift and it's fun and I like it a lot and I miss it. So there's that. But yeah, Julian Assange has been leaking stuff about Pegasus since at least 2011. So once again, thank you, Julian. Once again, warning us about things that are happening, and nobody listens to him.
Yeah, I mean, technology has been used for more insidious purposes forever. That's kind of the first thing we try to do with any new technology is how can we either spy on people or kill people? And if it doesn't, I don't know, maybe we'll sell it to a bunch of plebes to heat up their old leftovers. That's probably fine. Like that's half of the shit that we have that we use on a daily basis was probably like used for some kind of military.
Oh, we
or
can't kill
intelligence
anybody with this, so
application.
let's just give it to the
Yeah.
heathens.
Or
That's
criminalize it.
literally what Henry Kissinger's lockstep document says, that they're literally just going to control the implementation of technology across the human population and work to subvert the development of independent technology in the third world.
Oh, Kissinger. When
Fuck
will you die?
Kissinger. Why won't that motherfucker just die already? God
I don't
damn
even inherently
Like 1,000
believe that
years
Sheldon
old.
Adelson's actually dead. I just like that's just like hopium to me.
Yeah.
So, because you know people like we live in 2021. Like the Soviets learned how to hook a dog head up to a machine. Like he's probably in some weird fucking capsule device trying to live forever right now. As gross as that sounds.
Well, I mean, with the amount of transhumanism that's involved with the Great Reset and people basically fantasizing over a new cognitive revolution or some special type of evolution that always involves fusion of biology and technology. Neuralink, Elon, thanks.
Dude, Elon Musk's products explode on a regular basis. I'm not letting him put anything inside my head. Ever. I mean, seriously. His shit explodes all the time. Am I wrong? His shit constantly explodes. No, you don't get to put a chip in my head, fucker.
I remember him trying to do that self-landing rocket thing, and it was just
And it just exploded.
kept fucking and then there was like that one time they got it, and they were like, "Oh!" It's just like, yeah,
Dude
man,
is not
just
putting
fucking-
anything anywhere near my head ever. No, not happening. Mm-mm. No time for it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, a couple of years ago, this was maybe 2016. There was like an Australian company that was trying to download the consciousness into like a disk drive, and it was just like, but why? And then they were like, it only costs $1 million. I'm like, so nobody that matters can fucking like, we can't take a really like cool intellectual person, and I don't even know who I would want to do that.
I don't know. Yeah, who would you want? Like, I don't know. But I guess I would kind of like to have like Noam Chomsky's like wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But he's written like tons of books, and no, I'm just saying, like, everybody has their issues with Noam Chomsky, and I have my own. But he is like a library of information. Which is
like
cool.
The historical knowledge that he has.
Yeah. Or like somebody like Glenn Greenwald is like really intelligent on certain things, or you know what I mean? Like there are people who, nobody's perfect, but I have my, there are certain people who I think are just like a wealth of information.
But
and
they're
that
not
would be
the people
cool.
that they're gonna choose. It's gonna be like
Henry Kissinger
Branson and Kissinger. Yeah, they're like, hey, who are the people that have committed the most
these narcissistic psychopaths?
It'll be like Lil Wayne will upload his consciousness.
Yeah. It'll be like, we need some entertainment. Yeah, what's Lil Nas X doing? That's fucking put.
I think somebody said he's going to prison, or maybe going to prison. I don't know.
What?
I think my kid told me that today. I don't know. What? She saw it on TikTok.
Oh man.
Anyway,
but that was the thing. Is just like, I don't understand what this fucking obsession with getting linking to the internet or becoming part technology. Like
the internet of
I don't get it. Yeah, like I don't understand what this whole upload your consciousness into a fucking computer is all like. Do you really want to be here forever watching humanity fucking
it's
repeat?
A little narcissistic.
Yeah, it's
they are sociopaths, though.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
Right?
What's that?
It gives a whole new definition to having to unplug Grandpa.
We got to reboot Grandpa.
Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Off and back on again.
Oh no!
I have a theory on Elon Musk.
I often wish I could turn my consciousness off and then plug it back in again. Got a little glitch in there.
But
a theory on Elon Musk, though. I mean, I think that's all like fake. That they only are giving reasons to the public to create like unlimited funding into Elon Musk because this guy has military, U.S. military written all over him. I mean, already it started during like the PayPal mafia times where he was involved with Peter Thiel, InQtel background. But I think
he's just like the front. Like he's the guy that they put out there to make you think that he's like this cool, edgy billionaire guy who creates cool toys. I don't think he has much to do. You know what I mean?
He's like
but the whole story about
transhumanism.
But the whole story. The story about going to Mars and back, like having like missiles that can return like to Mars and then land on like some aircraft carrier, right? But I think this is the super simple. The answer to that, and that is actually, I think they're looking for a way to like resupply aircraft carriers around the world, and they're just looking to remotely have usable missiles that they can fire at countries, land on aircraft carriers. They send them in from the USA, land them on a carrier in the Middle East, for example, and have them be able to like fire them at will, just resupply them, right? And it is all like military purpose, and that they're using these stories just to like make sure he has enough funding to do that. And it's like, all these futuristic stories about we can go to Mars together and everyone is like interested in it and they're allowing like endless funding. In the meantime, this guy has over 150 billion as a private.
I think most of this stuff is about increasing funding for the military industrial complex. All of this stuff is all of, I mean, that's what Space Force is. That's what Elon Musk is for.
Disclosure will be when they're like, there's aliens coming to kill us from space Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll just dump like
that's why they've started leaking stuff about UFOs again.
Yeah.
That's all part of it. They want to leak stuff about UFOs. They did this. Caitlin Johnstone wrote a great article. They did this during the Cold War. The last Cold War, that a bunch of stuff came out about UFOs. It's how they just, they want more funding for their game of death. I don't know what do you want to call it? It's a bunch of we're run by psychopaths who are bloodthirsty, maniacal cretins. Like they're shit stains on humanity, and they need to be stopped.
With space weapons now.
There was I remember right before, I think the last tour that I did right before the pandemic hit, I had like a 9-hour drive to Huntsville. So I listened to this fucking ridiculous Joe Rogan podcast where they brought up all this UFO stuff. And apparently he had some military guy who like really freaked out over some of the UFO stuff. So like, you know, they're doing all this. And I'm in the middle of, it's like 9:30. I'm 2 hours from where my buddy's house. And I have to stop to get gas, and it's this middle of nowhere, bumfuck Tennessee. And I get out of the car, and I'm pumping gas, and I'm just getting stared at, which is like, all right, I'm in the South, and I'm brown. I get it. I'm not
Right.
like, all right, hello, but it kind of, but it was the weird, like that's all. That's
true,
really, I just wave. I'm just like, hey,
That's actually so true,
I see you staring at me like I'm a fucking zoo animal. Like, are you gonna feed me or something? Like, what do you want? What do you want to fucking do? Like, it's just a weird thing. But I think it had to be the fact that I've been like driving for 8 hours all day and then listening to this thing and having that experience. And I was like, fuck, is this true? Like, like, is Joe Rogan spitting the truth? Are there aliens? Was that guy one of them? Do you think they've infiltrated us? But it's just, I was exhausted and I was being stared at, which happens all the time, but I was just so fucking tired.
But when you're tired and then paranoid and you've been listening to this crazy podcast,
which is the only time that I think Joe Rogan makes a lot of sense.
When you're tired?
When I'm completely exhausted and
when I'm high, sometimes I'm like, whoa, Joe Rogan's on some shit right now. You know what I mean? Because I don't listen to a lot of Joe Rogan.
I don't either.
I only listen to like if there's somebody like I'm interested in or that I think is interesting or that I'm just curious about, which is rare because he doesn't really talk to a lot of people that I give a shit about. But I do listen occasionally.
But it's just one of those things where like, that's what it took for me to be like, oh man, I should be freaked out about these UFOs. But then like right after all that happened, a couple months later, there's just all these stories coming out about UFO, and I was just like, there's no fucking way. Like, why would they release this info? Like, do you really think
they want money?
In Podesta's emails, he was actually getting messages about when they were going to do disclosure from like astronauts and shit like that. Yeah.
Hey, Krish, Steve said they were staring at you because you're an owl.
Oh, that's fair. That is fair. Maybe I had transformed into an owl.
I really do like try to have faith in the South sometimes. Like every time I would get in there like visiting relatives or something, I'm like, okay, like yes, Southern hospitality, I believe in you guys. The next thing you know, like I'll literally get picked up from the airport. We'll be driving 5 minutes later, like a pickup truck drives by with like the Confederate flag on. I'm like, God damn it, guys! Come on, you were doing so well.
I love the South, and I like every time I'm down there. There's always like that Southern hospitality. It's real. Like I went in.
It is.
Especially
if you're white.
Article or this alien?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
If you're white in the South, Southern hospitality is legit. I will say that. Yes, I've experienced it. They are very nice. But I can imagine that if you're brown, not so much.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Subject: Apollo astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell's request to meet to discuss disclosure. Dear John Podesta, we have moved into the last half of 2014. The need for extraterrestrial disclosure intensifies. Thank you for your kind consideration and response to my email. This weekend, I will meet with President Obama's friend, advisor Hamodo, at the U.S. mission in Geneva during the Independence Day celebration. While in Geneva, I will ask to speak at the UN and European Space Agency regarding why we must move forward with disclosure in specific programs such as manned moon missions, and some scientists and others are calling for moon colonization due to what they perceive as happening on Earth. And it goes on, but I'm gonna just read the response. It's pretty crazy. I'll drop the link into chat. But then she gets a response received. Thanks, Rebecca. Sorry for the delay. It's been a heck of a month. John would likely take this meeting alone first before involving the president, so let me ask him if I can get this in August. He'll be in town August 11th and 12th. Is Dr. Mitchell planning on being in town then? So literally, John Podesta is one of the people that at least...
John Podesta was like, there's a message there in the WikiLeaks emails. There are emails between him and Tom DeLonge from Blink 182 about UFO stuff, because he's also... Right. Yes, Tom DeLonge from Blink 182 is very into UFOs.
And then he gets a TV show. Right.
Yeah.
So like the whole alien narrative is literally just John Podesta's brainchild. Like he loves it. Like he's really into disclosure. It. Like who wants aliens if John Podesta is in charge of them?
Well, I mean, and the military did try to build their own UFOs too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, that's just it's funny is because it's not they're not saying aliens, they're just saying unidentified flying objects. They just don't know what the fuck it is. So it could be like anything. But they're like
people always are like, oh, they saw a UFO, and I'm like, you do know what that stands for, right? It could be literally anything. It could be just like a weird like plane. Calm down.
Could be a Florida man. You know,
right? It could be the Goodyear blimp. It could be, the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. It could be, who knows? It's just an unidentified flying object. People freak out.
Yeah, we're looking at it the wrong perspective. What if instead of aliens, we found the existence of demons, and we were wrong, and they like come, out of very small port, and they're not very big. That's the problem. Is we've always thought demons were huge, but they're very small, almost pixie size. No one wants to go along with this, really.
I was just thinking you were going to make it like a coronavirus.
I'm like trying to figure out which anime I've seen that aligns with that exact plot.
But I mean, depending on what area you're in, aliens and demons could be the same thing, right? If you're not educated enough to understand that there's spinning rocks that could have things living on them, you might think something showing up out of the sky in a giant metal pod is a demon.
You just M. Night Shyamalan this whole
thing. You totally did, Andrew. Nice work.
Also, yes,
he sucks.
I'm not. I missed it.
No, M. Night Shyamalan. The Sixth Sense was okay, but then, dude, I'm telling you, The Village just straight up pissed me off.
You know what pissed me off and what? Yeah, no, The Last Airbender. That should have him like expunged from history. That's a crime against humanity. What he did to the greatest TV series of all time.
I thought After Earth was pretty good. Just saying.
What?
I don't watch a lot of movies, so I haven't seen that.
Not Shyamalan.
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan did After Earth. It was literally like him taking a shot at everyone that makes fun of him for plot twists, because you know what happens at the beginning of the movie. Like what happens at the end at the very beginning. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I didn't know that was Shyamalan.
Yeah.
There's another reason not to watch that movie.
I still thought it was dead.
But
I'm not gonna watch. I wasn't interested in watching that movie, and now I'm like even less interested in it.
I think Will
it was a dead movie.
Wait, is that the one with Will Smith and his kid, and they're like, they gotta like
where
fight
like
baboons
Jaden's
or
like
something?
super monotone and shit. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, and like the bad guy's like an army of like mandrills or something like that. That's in the preview, right? They gotta fight like an army of various different types of monkeys and apes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I feel like I nailed the plot.
That's like the whole plot hook.
I feel like I nailed it. Right, I saw that in the preview, and I was like, "This is going to be a really weird, fucked up anti-monkey movie," and I'm not into it. I don't like it.
But I would like to thank everybody for joining us.
Andrew is really amazing and like these awkward. We just had a really weird conversation. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. My cheeks hurt really bad. This was a fun episode, and we don't get to have these very often. So I'm grateful for it, but my cheeks really do hurt. Oh goodness. Okay, so Glory, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, fam?
Yeah, you can find me on the ground and around. I'm on Slow News Day Show. I'm a co-host there, a part of MCSC Network, Mikasa Sukasa. I'm also on Anonymous Bites Back a Lot with Mark Lubbers. And I also have a Hive blog at Zero Eclipse with 2 E's, where I write stuff there occasionally. And trying to think of what else. I know we have Slow News Day shows coming up this week, but I forget with who exactly.
Steve is like
but
fuming right now.
he sucks at promos too, so
He
I'm
does,
allowed this.
but he gets mad when everybody else sucks.
Yeah. But
He
yes,
does that.
you can catch me on Slow News Day. You can also catch my articles there. And October 12th is when the next day of action for Commander X will be. And in between then, you know, I'm going to be hitting the ground for all kinds of stuff. Pretty much. I love all protests. Protests for Palestine, keep an eye on that, keep an eye on Yemen, keep an eye on everything happening in Europe right now, which is pretty awesome to see how they're protesting against mandated jabs. Shout out Greece, France, Netherlands, other countries that I'm forgetting. Shout out Team London, always keep the activists in direct action first. And I'm rambling now, so that's it. Hasta siempre.
All right, Mark, you have anything you want to plug, promo, whatever?
Yeah, well, I can keep it short. You just have to go to marklubbers.com, a blog I just built, and it has all my social media stuff on it. So,
Whoop, whoop. Nice. One-stop shop for the Lubbers. I like it.
Shortly after this, joining Mark for ABB.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and for updates for Commander X, freecommanderx.org and at freecommanderx_ on Twitter.
Nice. Good save, Glory Jones.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you want to do your spiel?
Yeah.
You're closing out your very first show as a host, fam. I'm so excited. Yay!
You can find all my stuff at krishmohanhaha.com. It's KRISHMOHANHAHA.com. I do live streams on Rockfin, Odyssey, and Facebook right now at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then I have podcasts and videos that come out pretty much almost every day. So you can follow me, and the website's a quick, easy place to go and check out all my stuff.
And I highly recommend getting his albums. They're super funny. I have them. They're great. It's a good time. One of my favorite jokes is when he says something like, I'm the kind of guy that walks into the party with like a copy of manufacturing consent. Because I'm that person too. So I can relate. But anyways, I'm Misty. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I have another show called Facts on the Ground with my friend Jesse Zerwell. We have a bunch of interviews coming up this week because I don't have enough to do. So I figured we'd go ahead and pack my schedule. And then I also have Bitch with Comrade Misty every Wednesday at 7. Last week was awesome. Like I said earlier, we had 3 of the ladies from Fred Hampton Leftists on. It was amazing. It was a huge, like, we didn't shut up the whole time. It was great. There was 0 dead air. There was one time that somebody was like, breathe, Misty, because I went on a rant. I have good breath control, guys. Don't worry about me. So this week we have 2 of the organizers for the March for Medicare for All rallies that are happening on Saturday, July 24th. I am emceeing the Columbus rally. So we're going to have somebody from New York and then somebody from Columbus that are going to come on, and we're going to probably bitch about the trolls and then just talk about the marches and then just whatever else happens to come up. Daniel still has the Billboard campaign in North Carolina. If you're able to donate to that, please do. The link is in the description. And like I said on a couple different shows, once we get closer to college football season, I'm going to reopen the Ohio fundraiser because there's a billboard right outside of Ohio Stadium that I want. I want it. That's seriously hundreds of thousands of people. The shoe fits like 108,000. And then you add on to that all the tailgaters and crazy beer drinkers that are going to be out there. There's going to be a lot of people seeing that billboard. So I definitely want to get that one set up. And then I think that's it. I don't know. I always feel like I'm forgetting something when I do this, but if it's, important, I wouldn't have forgot it. So fuck it. Go ahead, Andrew. In the description,
we have the End the Damn Wars, Free Assange, Censorship protests that we're organizing for mid-September. There's probably going to be more around there that we're going to try to do, or that I'm going to try to do. But please go on there. Please go donate to the GoFundMe. Please share it around if you can to help get people to the event. And if you can't make it, as always, please plan on doing things locally for it, whether it's just going around and putting up posters, things like that. Because September is going to mark the 1-year date of when Julian's witness hearings took place. So that's that's a great time.
And it's
to
also
do-
the 20-year anniversary of the war in Afghanistan, and Joe Biden said that he's going to be pulling out of Afghanistan. We'll see if he actually does that. He's now moved that to August 30th, but we'll see. I still don't believe it. We're not really, even if he does, there's still going to be people there. But I did remember what I was forgetting. Next week, Randy Credico is trying to put actions together in DC. I screwed up and thought that I was going to have a much easier time finding babysitters. So I'm struggling right now to find babysitters. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but Tuesday, like I said, I think at the beginning of the show, Daniel Hale's sentencing hearing is on Tuesday. So if you are in the DC area, or if you can make it to the DC area on Tuesday to support Daniel Hale and whistleblowers, get out there with a poster board, protect whistleblowers, whatever you can do. We need to make sure that I'm going to try really hard to get down there, but I really fucked up my scheduling and had my weeks all discombobulated. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it now, which I'm sad about. But yeah, definitely if you can get out there and support Daniel Hale, that would be excellent. Okay, that's what I forgot, Andrew. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. This Sunday in New York City, I believe it's at noon at Foley Square, Kara Castronova's group, Citizens Against Political Prisoners, is organizing an event to raise awareness about the January 6th prisoners that are still being detained in D.C. and across the country. Most of them held in isolation for over 6 months, at least the ones in the actual Washington, D.C. So if you're in the area, turn out for that. I think that's most everything. I'm looking forward to figuring out what we're going to do for October for Commander X.
Yes, thank you, Glory. Andrew?
My name is Andrew Smith. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zigmund, Zigmund. You can follow us on Twitter at action_4 Assange. And just keep doing what you can with the time and money that we all have left, because right now, shit's crazy. Get rid of PayPal if you can. I'm personally going to get a real bank because I don't have one. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody.
All right.